Good evening, everyone. I have to say, I am genuinely thrilled to be able to say that Major League Baseball is back and we're going to play 162 games. I do want to start by apologizing to our fans. I know that the last few months have been difficult. There was a lot of uncertainty. At a point in time when there's a lot of uncertainty in the world, sort of the way the process of collective bargaining works sometimes, but I do apologize for it. One of the good things about collective bargaining is that it gives our players an opportunity to have input on what their workplace and the game is going to look like going forward. And they took full opportunity to provide that input during these negotiations. Our players are great athletes. I respect them. And I respect the input that we received from them during this process, and we really did learn a lot. Looking forward, I could not be more excited about the future of our game. I think we have an opportunity in front of us. I think it's an opportunity that we need to work with the players to fully seize. But I think that some of the things in the agreement are really important in that regard. I think the expanded playoff format will bring postseason baseball and maybe even more importantly, exciting September baseball to more markets. I think the balanced schedule will be a real improvement for our fans. It'll give our fans a greater opportunity to see all of the great players in the game on a more regular basis. And maybe most important is the agreement that we reached with the MLBPA on rule changes. I love our game. Having said that, since I've been commissioner, I've talked about the need to make changes in some of our rules to enhance the entertainment value of our product for the benefit of our fans. And I think the new agreement opens an opportunity that we can work with the players to make sure that we make good rule changes that works for our fans, works for our players. I want to thank the players for their participation in the process. I look forward to seeing them again, this time on the field. I also have to acknowledge two groups. Our Labor Policy Committee, chaired by Dick Manfred, John Henry, Mark Antanasio, Hal Steinbrenner, Jim Pohlad, Ray Davis, and Ron Fowler, did a phenomenal job, devoted lots and lots of hours to what was a long and protracted process. And then last, Dan Hallam and the labor relations staff, their dedication to making an agreement with the MLBPA and getting the game back on the field, really phenomenal. They did a great job in this negotiation.
We have microphones on both sides of the room. If you have a question, just raise your hand. We'll get you. Looking at the process and the anger from the players, as Tony expressed, they feel they've been commoditized. Given the changes in the game, in the analytics of the game, and the way players are valued, and all the litigation, Bryant, service time, shortened season, how do you get past that and work with them and make sure this isn't just a truce and you work together?
Well, I hope that the players appreciate that we worked very hard to address the key concerns that they brought to the table. They talked about pay for young players. We had a historic increase in the minimum salary, whole new form of compensation in terms of the bonus pool. They were worried about service time manipulation, made the first ever type of agreement on that issue, never done it before. We went to a draft lottery, something that, I don't think people understand how wedded clubs historically have been to our traditional draft order. It's a really important thing to them. We made changes, went to the lottery in order to address their concerns about competitiveness. We wanted a 14-team playoff. We thought it was the best one. We compromised in order to try to address their concerns. So I hope that the process is a first step forward. I spoke to Tony after their ratification vote. I told him that I thought we had a great opportunity for the game in front of us, and told him that I hope to work with him on things that are new in the agreement, like the effort to get to the international draft, but more generally on seizing the opportunity that I think's in front of us.
Hi. You obviously a large portion of this was financial, but you've also mentioned the sort of anti-tanking measures and the anti-service time manipulation measures. So there are some elements of this deal, I guess, that are designed to sort of encourage teams to do the right thing. But it seems hard to legislate doing the right thing. Is that something you think the league can do?
I think that we made changes in the agreement to address player concerns. I think in the almost without exception that clubs try to do the right thing. They want to win. Different people may have different views as to how you should be trying to win and on what time frame. But I think the things that we added to the agreement, say it again, was about addressing player concerns to the extent that we could.
And this is one that I know is not a priority for you guys, but this is a press conference and we are the press, so I felt I should ask. What is the status of clubhouse access for the media for the life of the CBA? With
Mr. Hallam sitting in the back to correct me, I think there was no change.
So
I got that right.
In terms of clubhouses?
The pre-COVID rules are the rules that are going to apply.
Thank you.
James.
The deal that you guys offered ahead of your deadline, 5 p.m. last week in Jupiter, it changed a lot from then until now. How much of this, at this point, could have been done sooner to avoid compromising on training and then having games be canceled twice?
The way the process of collective bargaining is designed to work under the statute, it's really driven by two things: time and economic leverage. And, no agreement comes together before those two things play out in a way that you find common ground. I think we made an agreement when it was possible to make an agreement.
Rob, how much personal responsibility do you feel for the breakdown of labor relations in this sport? And what can you do as commissioner to improve those relations going forward?
Yeah, one of the things that I'm supposed to do is promote a good relationship with our players. I've tried to do that. I think that I have not been successful in that. I think that it begins with small steps. It's why I picked the phone up after the ratification and called Tony and expressed my desire to work with him. It's going to be a priority of mine moving forward to try to make good on the commitment that I made to him on the phone.
Rob, do you in the end feel it was necessary to have a lockout, the lockout achieve what you wanted it to?
Look, I believe that in sports, a off-season lockout is the most effective way to get to an agreement without losing games if you can't make an agreement before expiration. My strong preference is always to make an agreement before expiration. Wasn't possible here. Once it became clear we couldn't make an agreement prior to expiration, I do believe that the lockout helped move the process along. And, if we had just slid into the season, started the season without the lockout, I don't think we'd have an agreement today.
Commissioner Hayden?
Hey, Rob. The unions were successfully called the league's bluff several times on deadlines. Were you ever surprised at their solidarity?
I've never been surprised at the solidarity of the MLBPA. It's it may be one of the best unions in America. It has been historically, that's for sure. Let me say this about deadlines. I know the use of deadlines and extending deadlines and figuring out when to set them and when to back off them is part of the art of collective bargaining. And I think that it is an art form that's important in terms of making a deal. And there's more to deadlines just saying this is a deadline and I'm never going to move it.
Correct, but then they, sorry, that's just to say, there's also obviously an art to not taking a deadline seriously. Did they outmaneuver you?
Look, my answer to that is we got an agreement that we're happy with. Upon looking back at it, I think we used deadlines effectively to move the process at points in time when it needed to move. And, who outflanked who? My view is there's only one win, and that's getting an agreement, and we got one.
Rob, you mentioned what the goal for the collective bargaining is to find common ground for the two sides, and that's how you explained how long it took. What it kind of showed, I think, was how much space that you guys had to bridge, how far apart you guys were, whether it was ideologically, whether it was financially. Does the league have a lot of work to do to get on the better side of players or to work together better? The gap has been bridged now. You got the CBA done, but it seems like there's still, even in the vote with the players, there was a substantial amount that voted against this.
Yeah, I think that we're committed to the idea of working hard during the term of the agreement, maybe to more regularly get to the bottom of player concerns so that they don't build up. I mean, this negotiation, we started a long way apart. In case anyone missed the memo, they did come with a very, very broad agenda for change. And, they're entitled. That's it. That's what the process is about. But when someone starts that broad, it usually takes a little more time to find common ground.
First one, Rob.
Rob, yourself, you just said that you have failed maybe in your goal of having an excellent relationship with your players. Why that failure? What can you do from now on to improve that specifically? The relationship with players, who obviously there's a lot of animosity out there.
Yeah, look, I do believe, I hope, that the players will see the effort we made to address their concerns in this agreement as an olive branch in terms of building a better relationship. We built some processes into this agreement where we're going to be interacting more regularly with players on topics like the international draft and rule changes. I think those opportunities for positive interaction help to build a better relationship.
One of the players' biggest concerns with what was going on in the process, like the luxury tax thresholds, is they argued that it was not, the growth of that, for example, was not kept pace with league revenues. What is your response to their concerns about their overall compensation not keeping up with what folks are?
Look, I think that the MLBPA historically has wanted a market-based system. Over multiple negotiations. That's been a primary objective of theirs. Markets produce market results, and I think that the changes that were made in this agreement move dramatically in their direction on topics like the CBT threshold, and I think you'll probably see a little different market results as a result of the changes.
Play ball!